Patch 7.4 of Final Fantasy XIV is almost here, and you know what that means. We have to react to your hot takes. I asked, and you most certainly delivered. So without further ado, hello everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and let's dive right on into this. First up tonight, we have at CareX, who says 7.4 will cement Dawntrail as a filler expansion that only existed to get Alexandria into the story. All the cast from outside the dome are likely relegated to Americ duty, only to show up as a "remember them" moment down the road. I don't know if I entirely disagree. I'd argue this is probably more of a theory, but at the same time, it's kind of the vibe I get from the current story as well. And I'll expand even on just the Americ duty to Ishgard duty, because Terral overall feels like it's going to be the Ishgard for this next big narrative arc, where it was very important for that arc, but it really helped us be introduced to various things that would become way more important for the overarching story later on. That's kind of the role I think Terral's gonna fall into, and yeah, I think Alexandria, Solution 9, and Sphene are going to be massively more important moving forward. I mean, come on, Calyx is still there, and with a new group with Winter, and even in 7.4, we're going back to Alexandria. I mean, like, come on. I think in, like, some ways, not entirely, they wanted Terral to be there for the summer vacation vibe, and then for the story moments and elements that have become more important to the next arc, that's why they have Alexandria there. Some people will like that, some people won't like it. I understand why this will probably be the case, because when it comes to what is almost certainly a story that will be about the various shards, Alexandria is just simply more important because it has more mechanisms and characters directly related to other shards. Like, maybe you can do something with the Golden City and like Yaktel, like maybe, but like outside of that, it feels kind of similar to like Ishgard for me, where it's like every now and then we went back there as a member them to get a few updates and all that, but it wasn't terribly important to the plot beat moment-to-moment story we got in things like Shadowbringers and Endwalker and stuff like that. Maybe we'll get something like Roll Quest later down the line that tasks us with going back to Terral for whatever reason to catch up on the state of the realm. I don't see characters like Kona or Wuklamat or really anyone from Tulia Lol being massively important going forward. I just don't see it really happening. You can argue that's because of like fan feedback, and possibly that's part of it, but even if you never told me how people reacted to the stories of, say, 7.0, 0.1, and etc., and we're just looking at the story of Dawntrail in a box by itself, it really does feel as if all roads lead to Alexandria. It's more technologically advanced, it has more characters from other shards because that's where it freaking came from. It just feels as if Solution 9 is going to be the focal point from which a bunch of stories from now on are going to branch out from. I don't particularly mind that, because I actually like Solution 9, and I love the stories of 7.2 and 0.3, and I think it did a lot of good for the actual characterization of characters in Solution 9 and Alexandria, and for that entire corner of the realm overall. So if that is the direction they're going to go in, which to me seems likely, I'm in favor of it. Next up, we have one that targets me personally, and it'll be a scorching hot take for some people out there, but I promise you it would be ice cold for me. We have at Punished John A. Douglas, who says Final Fantasy XIV 7.4 would be a whole lot better if it deleted the game and installed Xenoblade Chronicles. Now look, I don't know about deleting FF14 and replacing it with Xenoblade, but if we got a collab raid, ooh, the stars would align, sparks would fly. They would have me acting like an anime tsundere. I would be kicking my feet, blushing, poking my fingers together. For those who don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite game series out there. I adore that franchise, and we're even playing Xenosaga Episode 3 on the channel right now. I am a massive Xenoblade Chronicles fan, and while ordinarily, especially recently, I've kind of fallen out of love with the concept of collabs between various games and all that, every now and then I'd be willing to make an exception, and a Xenoblade Chronicles Final Fantasy XIV crossover would absolutely be an exception to that. It would be so freaking cool, to me at least. Oh my god, if we got Glamour from Xenoblade in Final Fantasy XIV, and I was able to wield the Monado in Final Fantasy XIV on like my Dark Knight, oh my god, I would be over the moon! Oh, you could give us like Grams from Xenoblade 2 as a little pet as well? The No-Pawn minions would be crazy! I just thought of that. That'd be awesome. Getting a whole host of various Nopon as minions, then getting a giant Nopon as a mount. Oh, and you could also do like Big Grams from Xenoblade 2 as a mount as well. Or like a faced Mechon as a mount from Xenoblade 1. Oh, there's so many ways to do this and just have fun with it. I really hope at some point down the line they can find a way to get this to work and to happen. I know it's not likely or anything, but like, my god, let a man dream. You want me to farm Final Fantasy XIV every day of the week, do something with Xenoblade Chronicles in it, and it would be a done deal. Oh my god, just think of the music, the freaking music, dude!
I can't heal! No, that's nothing, Shell! Go now! Do it! Mew!
Yeah!
Oh, the equestrian rules would flow, especially if they somehow got the soundtrack for Xenoblade Chronicles X. That was headed up by Sawano as well. Yeah, the Attack on Titan guy. Can you imagine Uncontrollable or Don't Worry? I'd be over the moon. Absolute cinema. Make it happen. Next up, we have a discussion that I have a feeling is only just beginning. We have at Tajin Q, who says, most people who say that removal of glamour restrictions is bad for job identity don't really believe what they're saying. They are the same people who complain every time a shift in direction is implemented or even suggested. They're scared of change, so they'll say the first thing that comes to mind to justify keeping the game the way it is. Look, there's absolutely some people in any like big long-running project that are scared of change, because sometimes series that are long running continue to make changes that separates the modern version of the product from what it was before. Hello Halo, while also not properly understanding what made the game and the series so beloved before. Also hello Halo. However, for a series, I don't think change is necessarily the problem so long as you are able to retain the feeling of being that individual thing. Now, when it concerns job identity in Final Fantasy XIV, and specifically when it comes to glamour restrictions, I don't really see that as a bad thing for the game, as we've talked about before, because, bro, have you looked at the glamour sets you're able to equip already in the game? Job identity mostly went out the window a while ago, and I think if job identity is the goal, which I do think it should be, there are other mechanisms and other levers to pull to get a better feeling of job identity in the modern state of Final Fantasy XIV than simply restrict what you can wear on your character, potentially giving us dialogue options based on a job or role, bringing back the character from all the job quests of yesteryear. That could be really cool. Some job changes when it comes to 8.0 could go a long way as well. My position is, if you believed that glamour restrictions as they currently are the last thing holding job identity together in Final Fantasy XIV, well then they weren't together to begin with. And also oftentimes a lot of the gear they role restricted or just restricted based on what job you were didn't really make sense when you actually looked at a lot of the sets. It's like, if you looked at the last couple of tiers for Final Fantasy XIV, at a glance, would you have been able to tell me which set goes to which job? It felt very arbitrary, right? And I think in a Final Fantasy XIV that wants to create sets like this, and really wants to embrace glamour diversity, holding on to role restrictions, class restrictions, level restrictions, it's more of an anchor weighing you down than something holding the entire experience together. I think the fantasy that Final Fantasy XIV is striving for now, more than ever, is individual fantasy. They want you to really make your Warrior of Light your own. And I think the way that Final Fantasy XIV is constructed, narratively and just historically, that's probably the better direction to go in than hyperfixating on, oh, well, you're a warrior, you should look like this specifically. They've really gone away from that mentality in recent years and recent expansions, and I think it's for the better, and this is just kind of opening the floodgates, and instead of slowly removing the band-aid, just ripping it off. Again, whenever you have a community as large as Final Fantasy XIV, you will always find plenty of people to like or dislike any one thing. Those ratios aren't always 50-50 though, and I think when it comes to this, more people are going to be in favor of it than are against it. And I do think it is a change for the better of the game because of the specific way that Final Fantasy XIV tries to get you to care about your Warrior of Light. I think having those arbitrary restrictions. Sure, they served a purpose once upon a time, but they aren't really needed right now compared to the investment a lot of people are going to get out of their Warrior of Light by being able to mix and match way more pieces of gear now. I know there are some roles out there that I was just not as excited to play simply because I didn't like how the characters would look. Like, magic users only have a couple of sets that I even like to use. 2 if I'm playing Black Mage or Summoner, 3 or 4 if I'm playing Red Mage. There's really not that much there for me. But now that I'm able to mix and match, a whole new realm of possibilities opens up to me. And this will help me be able to make my Warrior of Light feel more exactly the way that I want them to look for each of the jobs and each of the roles. Would this necessarily work with other games? Not necessarily, because they go for different things. But for Final Fantasy XIV, I'm a fan of it. Honestly, I kind of want 7.4 to hurry up and get here already. I really want to see where this MSQ goes. But here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your hottest take about patch 7.4 of Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail. I want your hottest. I want your spiciest takes. I want you to make me jump into a tub full of aloe vera just to cool myself from how hot your takes are. Hit me with your best, hit me with your strongest, and I may react to them in a future video. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And speaking of patch 7.4, I think it's fair to say that Final Fantasy XIV is getting rather desperate, and I think that's a good thing. And if you want to find out why they're getting desperate and how they're getting desperate, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again!